And that is probably the biggest one of all, is that AI can never sit in the driver's seat where it comes to being human, kind of, especially as a pastor. It can never allow you to look inauthentic or question like you did. Did a bot write this? Hey, welcome to the Executive Pastor Podcast, where we're hoping to give really pragmatic, from the trenches tips to you as you lead in your church. I'm here with Bart Rendell. Bart, would you like to introduce yourself quickly?
Yeah, co-founder of IC, a few years in church ministry, and that's my passion. And look forward to sharing some stuff from our work with churches, man. Make it as practical as we can make it.
Yeah, man. So I'm Doug Parks, the other co-founder of Intentional Churches. And we're going to hop in. We've got quite a few things cooking on the Executive Pastor front. And you can check out more by going to executivepastor.io. And Bart, let's get into it. So this podcast, we're going to kind of drill in from the start. Like, how do you get using AI at your church this week and how you lead? And we just did for kind of our internal crowd a podcast with Drew Dickens, who's become a good friend. And I quoted this: 93% of pastors are now using AI personally. And he scoffed and said, this report just came out this week where everybody can't agree. So he's like, what is the real number? So like Lifeway, it was like 10% of pastors. Barna was like a gazillion, and then PushPay has their version, and it was comical that everybody's making up numbers around this thing. But the bottom line is, pastors are beginning to use AI in their everyday life. What do you any thoughts about that?
I think it is comical. We can't settle on the number. Somebody really popular said we're outpacing, the church leader world is outpacing the business world in terms of use, personally speaking. I thought that was interesting. And then we're going to talk about that. I don't think that's true inside their organization. So I think it's more personal. Yeah.
Yes. It's like, how do I have a fun vacation in Europe? That's like what it's being used for, right?
Exactly.
Anyway, let's dig into this episode, man. We're trying to do these quick hitter 15-minute. So 3 things we want to get to today. First off, we want to emphasize this idea that you should be seeing AI in church leadership as this tireless intern mental model. Really reframing your idea of AI that it is an intern, not a decision maker, but it's an intern that works for you if you learn how to switch over to what's called agentic use, which I keep learning these terms, Bart. I don't know about you, or you're building agents. And Drew has helped me with like a travel agent, for instance, who are working like an intern for you tirelessly. You know, I'd love to hear if you've got some kind of personal applications or ways you're using agents to help you in your work. But here's a practical example for me. Somebody told me, hey, you really want to learn how to use AI in the new day coming, not just as a glorified admin or an efficiency thing, but an agent, where it's this idea of tireless intern. So I created my wife and I are almost empty nest. I created an agent that scans the internet every day for deals on first class tickets to destinations she and I may want to travel to as we get older. And so it sends me an email every morning and gives me updates on what that might be. And then I asked another agent to go build a credit card strategy to build the miles that I could go buy those for almost nothing. So that's my fun way I used it. But now that's helped me bridge the gap as we lead at IC of how I can build agents to utilize inside of AC. Bart, do you have a story of how you're using an agent to build something?
I have a vision for one I'm working on. So what I found is that for me at least, I got to get my head around I have to almost like know what I want it to design before I can ask it. So I'm working on one right now because we do all kinds of contacts of dozens and dozens and dozens on a regular basis. And so I'm working on the background in a spreadsheet of tracking everything I want to track in those conversations. And I've got it on my to-do list now that I know what I want it to do and how I want it to do it. to actually go now ask AI the right questions to build not only an agent to go track these conversations for me and maybe prompt me as to what to say when in terms of a follow-up, but also maybe to, I'm a little nervous about this, but to connect it to my email and maybe even track an email log of what we've said back and forth and code that into something that I can access through, a web page or something like that, which I know Claude can code right now. So that's my dream, but I'm working on the fundamentals of what I want to track at the moment. Your deals, you could probably sell subscriptions to that thing, man, on that credit card.
I don't know about that, but it's pretty cool. My first deal that came back was a 60,000-mile round trip lie flat from Salt Lake to Amsterdam. So that's a pretty good deal, man. Usually
really
that
good deal.
Delta, that'd be 400,000 miles. Okay, man. So let's, we kind of hit the emphasis there, the tireless intern idea. Let's have you jump into 3 tasks. 3 tasks.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that you could do this week as a church leader.
Well, I think an obvious one, I'll just hit, maybe make it even 4, is like you can have it produce first drafts of communications. And I would always recommend review. That's good. You're going to hear us coming back to that again and again. But like as a tireless intern, it can produce like first drafts of just about anything. For instance, like a newsletter or your bulletin, your announcements on the weekend. And these days, AI can even create graphics. Claude's gotten to the point that it does pretty good design. I've not used it for design yet, but I've seen designs that it's done. It's pretty awesome. And so you could feed it like last week's rough notes, a bullet list of what's happening, or have it track newsletters over time. And it could even recommend what you should be communicating. It'll produce a first draft in your church's voice if it has enough examples of how you speak and you want. This is a big deal. I remember in a church I was at, just getting beat up early in my ministry by a pastor who was like, we don't say it like that. Well, AI can like get to that voice thing pretty quickly. And you're going to want to make sure that names are spelled right, dates and times are accurate. So you got to always review. There's nothing theologically off, AI is just going to feed back to you what you've sort of fed it in this regard. And so, you could shape the theology that it's using over time. And whoever normally sends this stuff needs to be in the new approval kind of layer there that you have so that, it's right. And it might require another sign off if you would, but you can get there faster, I think.
Yeah, it's going to be a common theme. It still needs an approval and a gloss over a human checking for errors. The second one I'm going to give is around meeting notes and getting them turned into action items. You're going to feed into it. This is a thing I've used multiple times now. Get yourself a recording device or set up a device to record in your meeting room. And what this is going to allow you to do is make clear notes of the meeting. And most importantly, get the action items mined out. And then if you advance in your use of agents, you can even get that action item list assigned out into people's task management, however you do that. You could be something as simple as sending them an email or using a project management software like Basecamp or Asana, or we're learning at IC. You may not even need those. You could create your own of that, but that's for the advanced. This is a basic step you can take to get your meeting notes summarized, get your action items pulled out, and then get follow-up accountability around all the action that had them. And of course, Bart, somebody needs to read it all over and make sure it's accurate and not some goofy thing off the rocker. I can't wait for the stories to start coming in of some of the AI stuff we church leaders put out that was not accurate. It's like memes galore are inbound.
You just Google like AI recording device, by the way. There's a lot of choices out there.
Yep.
Ones you can just lay on the table and it'll be listening. I was in a meeting where they were doing a focus group with like 5 focus groups in a room. I could see a church application where you had a meeting, you had people divided up and you wanted to ask them to process, could be a teaching, could be something practical matter in the church. And around the table, each table is being recorded, and then they assembled all of those notes. The AI tool that the recorder sends it to um, assembled the notes and then came back with themes of the conversations, which now summarizing what the whole room was feeling. And each table, interestingly, was kind of like, I think it's kind of a Holy Spirit thing. Like each table was processing it their own unique way. What the same question was asked for them to process, but each table was coming back with unique insights. I thought that was a great application of what you're talking about. There's another one, dude, that you may want to tread lightly into, but I think you got to go there. Is like, you may want to test with some mock data maybe and get comfortable with it. It's like donor thank yous and acknowledgement letters, that kind of thing, where you're going to feed it potentially a gift amount, the fund or the project, maybe a detail about a person if you've got it or it has it, and just it'll create a warm first draft again for you to review. It can't sound like a bot, wrote it. Right names, right amounts, and you could even add a personal note. That's the thing. Again, you can review it and edit these things. You always should. And, whoever actually has the relationship and does this kind of sending of notes, potentially your church is big enough, someone creates these for you, and then you write a handwritten note on the bottom of the letter. I've seen that quite a bit. It could do that and automate that for you. But still, again, just always review, just like you would sending these out, make sure everything's correct. And it sounds right.
And it sounds right. That's right. Hey, you mentioned 4. I believe we got to 4 or 3 with the secondary option off the meeting notes. Did you have a 4th you wanted to share?
No, I just wanted to go back and capture that idea of just generally speaking, rough drafts of anything that you're wanting to have written. It can do. And I don't know if you use the Google Suite, by the way, Gemini is baked into it. You can just use Google. You can just use Gemini to right there on the fly create drafts of communications. And I'll just say this, in general, like you can't. This is akin to what we've been saying. I got a note 2 weeks ago from a friend that sounded great for like the first paragraph, and then the second paragraph, it just didn't sound like them at all, right? And this is like a pretty close friend of mine, and I was like, it just dinged me. And if that, and I'm still going to be friends and everything. But it's like, it included stuff that they would not normally include. I just know them well enough. Right. And that's the thing. I think in general, we're developing pretty good AI sniffers,
That's right. Yep.
And I don't know if that's going to be true forever, but it's definitely true right now. So just be careful.
Yeah. I think that leads to our kind of final point today. And that is probably the biggest one of all, is that AI can never sit in the driver's seat when it comes to being human, kind of, especially as a pastor. It can never allow you to look inauthentic or question like you did. Did a bot write this? and really question, do you care about people? Because I believe for the next run, this is going to be the hallmark of the church: the one another's of Scripture, the humanity, the relational investment in each other is going to be a differentiator. So kind of our no-go zone list: pastoral care after a loss, diagnosis, or crisis in a family. That is a no-go. I would say personal congratulations, check-ins, even like your friend did, or condolences. Maybe you have AI help you write the initial and then you edit it to make sure it's in your voice. Never, ever, ever with conflict, discipline, or termination conversations. I was watching something the other day where a text message went out to an entire staff who was fired. I'm like, no, we gotta remember that it's if a member, a church member, staff member, board member, whoever could say, did a bot write this, or know that a bot write this? This should not be in church leadership. So that's our word of caution there. You got any other guardrails?
Yeah. I mean, I've heard of this one, and I don't know that I've used it yet, but I've heard this a lot. It can help you organize your thoughts before maybe a hard conversation. You're dealing with maybe a conflict, or you just maybe just wrestling. It's been pretty good at this, I think, taking I'm wrestling with this, and this. This is the tension I'm feeling. How do I address it? Maybe in a conversation or with the person. Could be in writing, but the person, if it is a tough conversation, they need to feel heard, and active listening is a big deal. And it just as my son said, just be human. You know what I mean? And I heard there's a good gut check question. Would this still feel like me if I said it out loud in person to them? And I think that's what caught me with my friend, is it just didn't sound like them. So that's just a good gut check type question.
That's good, man. Well, great talking with you. Just to recap, AI should be used as your tireless intern. You got to adopt that mentality, especially as you mature in your usage of agentic, one of my favorite new words in my vocabulary. Number two, we gave you almost four really good tips on how to use AI this coming week. We'd encourage you to just choose one of those. And then finally, make sure you're clear on where not to be using AI for your communication. So just remember, check out the executivepastor.io for more. And Bart, I can't wait to talk next. I think we're going to get into AI policy, which I heard today. Churches, I think it's under like 2 or 3% is the estimate, have any kind of AI policy. So tune in again, and thank you for listening.